Well, howdy everybody in YouTube land. Welcome back to Stewie MTG as we continue unboxing the Commander 2021 series. Today we've got Lorehold Legacy, the green-white Boros. Thank you. Come on, brain. Obviously, I haven't had enough coffee this morning because, Stewie and his coffee are good friends. But couldn't think of the two-color combination there for a while. Brian, I'm over at Cure for Common Games. I'm starting to understand how that happens. And now that they're trying to get us to think of the two-color combinations in the school, Lorehold and Prismari and Witherbloom, etc. I don't know that I'll ever switch over. It's always going to be the Ravnica guilds. And I really don't understand these things. Why is it printed on? Why do you have these punch outs? And why have this giant magic logo as a pullout? I don't get it. Maybe I'm not a advertising guru or a boxing or marketing kind of guy, but what I do like are these little deck boxes. Yes, they're not going to really protect the cards, but if this is your first Commander deck, not so bad. With that, let's open it up. As you know, they got these little spacers. And the spin down and the learn to play. Let's bring over a box of Doom. There we go. As we go ahead and open this up. So we'll see what's in here. I know that there's a couple of white cards. That between this and the Orzhov Precon deck, that there's several that people have been really excited about. But we've got the Commander. Osgir the Recruiter. It's a 4-mana, 4/4, not bad rate. Vigilance. 1, sacrifice an artifact. Target creature you control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So you definitely can do those artifacts that want to be sacrificed to either draw a card or have some type of other effect. You can play X. Tap. Exile an artifact card with mana value X from your graveyard. Create 2 tokens that are copies of exiled card. Activate only as a sorcery. Now, I know people have been trying to figure out how to break this. I'm not so much into breaking it or abusing it as I already have a Mardu Artifacts Matter deck. I don't need another one. Although this is probably going in that deck. We've got Alabu, Ancient Witness, 5 mana for a 4/5. Other artifacts and creatures you control have haste. Whenever one or more artifact creatures you control attack, Alabu, the Ancient Witness, deals X damage to target and use Scry X, where X is the number of tapped artifacts you control. So not only you get damage, but you're also able to scry, which is something red and white, have a hard time with card selection and card draw. Here's its second printing of Secret Rendezvous. I foresee this being used in Commander. Yes, you're giving an opponent 3 cards, but this could be a political discussion. Hey, if I give you 3 cards, you're not going to attack this turn. Hey, if I give you 3 cards, can you take care of this other threat on the board? Reconstruct history. Really looking forward to using this. Return 1 of each of artifact, enchantment, instant, sorcery, planeswalker from the graveyard to your hand. For 4 mana, if you've got a combo piece that's in there or several combo pieces, is a great way to get it. Rip apart. As online on YouTube, often we negate the modal cards. where you get to choose one, and yet I think they're some of the most powerful, like with the charms from Visions, and then later on with each of the guild charms. I think they're great cards to include because they give you options. 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker, or destroy target artifact or enchantment. For 2 mana, that's totally going in my Firesong and Sunspeaker deck. Lorehold Campus. Study Hall. Now the thing is when they start printing these decks and coming out with these new cards, I've got to go through all of my decks and go and evaluate what cards in the new sets can replace or are a better option for cards that are currently in there. Darksteel Mutation. And with the amount of printer go burr at Wizards, it's hard to keep, unless you do this full time, which obviously I don't. It's hard to keep up with what cards should go in each of your decks. Often I just have to sit down for a couple of days after, 2 or 3 set unboxings like this, and then separate cards that need to go into decks like I have in front of me. We've got Dispatch, Dispeller's Capsule. We've got Return to Dust, Sanctum Gargoyle, if I can talk. Faithless Looting, Quicksmith Genius, Thopter Engineer, Boros Charm. Like I was saying, Boros Charm is excellent. Choose one of 3 options for 2 mana. 4 damage to target player or planeswalker. Permanents you control gain indestructible. Help prevent that, either the board wipe or a mass damage spell. Target creature gains double strike until end of turn. If you've got a Voltron commander, and trying to take somebody out. Arcane Signet, Boros Locket. Now, a lot of people are negative on the lockets. I still like them and use them in my 2-color decks because 3 mana, you get one of the 2 colors you need that you're using, but you also have that possibility for card draw. Yes, it costs 4 mana. But in colors that don't have the type of card draw that blue has, you take what you can get. Burnished Shard. Hey there, Brian. Commander Sphere. Hedron Archive. Icor Wellspring. One of those artifacts that I was saying that wants to be sacrificed. When it enters the battlefield or is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. So coming in and going, you get to draw a card. And if you can abuse that with the commander, you're getting extra value. Meteor Golem. Removal. I mean, if you're in a color that doesn't have a lot of removal, white and red have removal, so it's not such a big deal. But let's say you're in blue-green. Your removal's super limited. Mindstorm. Another one of the wants to be sacrificed, Mycosynth Wellspring. When it enters the battlefield or is put into a graveyard, you search your library for a basic land and put it into your hand. You got some ramp, artifact ramp. You got Pilgrim's Eye, Soul Ring, Unstable Obelisk. I don't like Unstable Obelisk. Yes, there's way better options, especially in white and red, for removal. I'm not spending 7 mana and a card to remove something. I'm just not. Ancient Dead. Boros Garrison. Angel of the Ruins. Yay, a new angel. You guys know me and my angels. Archaeomancer's Map. Now, this is the card that people have been hyping that's coming from this specific Lorehold Legacies deck. It's 3 mana. When this card enters the battlefield, you may search your library for 2 basic plains cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, if that player controls more lands than you, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. So number 1, you get the lands to your hand, and then if you're behind on mana, you're able to play them whenever a land enters under your opponent's control. So if you're behind, you can immediately catch up. And that's important because it doesn't come into play tapped. It comes into play untapped. That allows you to be able to respond with instants that are in your hand and have the mana for them. Bronze Guardian. Dig Site Engineer. Excavation Technique. Lashiel Clockwork Scholar. Elephant Tribal coming. Monologue Tax, the other card that has been the talk of the town, so to speak. People are saying that this is going to be like. Oh, I've got one right up here. Smothering Tithe. That whenever an opponent draws a card, if they don't pay 2, you get a treasure token. Is that necessarily the same as monologue tax? Well, number one, the condition is that when an opponent plays their second spell per turn, they don't have to pay mana. You're not asking the dreaded, are you going to pay 2? Or even worse, are you going to pay 1? But instead, you just get a treasure token. Now, is it going to pay for itself? Probably in one round in the table in a 4-player game. You're probably going to pay for this if it stays on the field. If it doesn't get removed quickly. Because, as we know, ramp, and especially being able to create those treasure tokens, can be abused in a deck like this. Audacious Reshapers. Battle Mage's Bracers. Cursed Mirror. Layla, the Blade Reforged. People have been talking about this one. I don't necessarily see the big hubbub, but that's just me. As Rudy says, I don't know how to play this Magic the Yu-Gi-Oh-ing, Wake the Past. Triplicate Titan. Another one, besides Brian Canada over at Cure for the Common Game just did a Golem Tribal deck in which this would fit perfectly. But besides Golem Tribal, I don't see a real use for it. Cleansing Nova. Great board wipe. Route. Another great board wipe. Sun Titan. Glad they're continuing to reprint it. Chain Reaction. Combustible Gear Hook. Probably one of the greatest inclusions so far of the 4 that we have now opened. Duretti, as far as planeswalkers that are in the deck, has been the best of the bunch. Perfect in this artifacts deck. Feldon of the Third Path. Great inclusion. Hellkite Igniter, going in my dragons. Hellkite Tyrant, going in my dragons. Horde Smelter Dragon, going with my dragons. We've got Pia. Jorkadine. Bosch. Duplicate. Duplican or Duplicant? Which is it? Key to the City. If you're hard up on card draw, this is a great way to get card draw. Mirror Battlesphere. Scrap Trawler. Sculpting Steel. Oh man, glad they had another reprint of Sculpting Steel. Solemn Simulacrum. Steel Hellkite. Going in my dragons. Steel Overseer. 1,000-Year Elixir. This is another one of those cards that I'm like, I can't believe they reprinted it. This had a nasty price tag for a while. And if I remember right, it was only in the Commander set that year. But in a deck like this, what you need to have to be able to tap and to use, especially your creatures for their abilities, it's great. Battlefield Forge, Painland, glad they're reprinting them. Exotic Orchard, looks like Brian's going to be getting some more Exotic Orchards. Slayer's Stronghold. Temple of Triumph, Skyland. Command Tower, Darksteel Citadel. Forgotten Cave. Great Furnace. Myriad Landscape. Phyrexia's Core. Rogue's Passage. Secluded Steppe. Sunhome. Temple of the False God. We've got our selected basic lands. And the crazy, I don't understand, thick commanders. I don't get it. Got some treasure tokens, which I need. Some golems and your on your turn reminder card. With that, this has been the Lorehold Legacies deck. Stay tuned for the last, but not least, I saved the best for last, the Quantum Quandrix deck that I have been looking forward to opening. You know, you got to delay that gratification sometimes. With that, this has been Stewie MTG. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe down below, and see you again soon.